On my 32nd birthday, my father and brother handed me a cake with the words, "Farewell, Ethan," scrawled across it. Then they pushed me out of the home I'd silently sustained for 9 years. 3 months later, they returned, frantic, after uncovering the secret my late mother had hidden until her passing. I'm Ethan, 32, and until 3 months ago, I believed my quiet efforts for my family held some value. I never sought praise or recognition, but I expected basic respect. Instead, I got a cake with "Farewell, Ethan" written in bold icing, paired with forced grins and hollow chuckles. They called it a prank, but the coldness in my father's stare when I didn't smile, and the way my brother, Jake, avoided my gaze told me it was no joke. It was a clear signal, and within an hour it became an eviction. Let me rewind. 9 years ago, when Mom passed, I was 23 and just finding my footing. She was the only one who truly saw me. Dad always viewed me as timid, too reserved to be a real man. Jake, his favorite, was bold, reckless, and charming, Dad's ideal son. He played sports, defied authority, and somehow that made him a leader in Dad's eyes. After Mom's funeral, the house felt empty. Dad drank more heavily, and Jake drifted in and out as he pleased. Bills stacked up, ignored by everyone. I just landed a stable IT job, so I stepped up quietly. I covered the utilities, took over the mortgage when it fell behind, and never asked for gratitude. I didn't even add my name to the deed. I did it for Mom's memory, to preserve her home. For years, I was the invisible force keeping the house alive. I fixed broken faucets in the dead of night, deposited money into the family account, and stayed up late helping Dad with online banking. I told myself they were still mourning, that they didn't know how to express thanks. But over time, the truth became clear. Dad wasn't grieving, he was bitter and entitled. Jake wasn't lost, he was freeloading, and I was the fool. So on my 32nd birthday, I came home from work hoping for a quiet evening, maybe a simple meal. Instead, I walked into a living room decorated with balloons, streamers, and that cake. "Farewell, Ethan." I stood frozen as Jake laughed too loudly and Dad patted my shoulder like I'd won a prize. "Surprise," Jake said, smirking. "Time to spread your wings, little bro." Dad added, "You've done plenty here, Ethan. It's time to live your own life." My chest tightened. I tried to process whether this was a cruel jest or something worse. When I asked, "Are you serious?" Dad's face hardened. He sighed, "Look, son, Jake's hit a rough patch. He needs the space, and frankly, you've been acting like you run this place. It's time to move on." Jake needs the space. Jake, who couldn't hold a job for more than 6 months, who crashed 2 cars and blamed everyone else. I didn't shout or cry. I went to my room, packed a single bag, and left. No one stopped me. For a week, I stayed in a motel, piecing together my next steps. I didn't tell anyone what happened. I kept my head down, rented a small apartment, and started fresh. It was humiliating, but also liberating. No more being the family's bank. No more watching Jake squander my efforts. I could finally breathe. But life has a way of looping back. A week after I left, Dad called. I let it go to voicemail. He texted, "Ethan, we need to talk. It's urgent." I ignored it. Then Jake called. "Hey, man, sorry about the party. It got out of hand. By the way, can you spot me 5 grand? My car's done for." I blocked him. Days later, Dad showed up at my workplace, looking exhausted in a way I'd never seen. He said he was sorry and needed help. "The mortgage is 3 months behind. Your mom wouldn't want us to lose the house." I nearly laughed. Now he mentions Mom. "Dad," I said, "I paid that mortgage for years. What happened to the money after I left?" He looked away, muttering about Jake's failed business idea and some poor choices. Then he tried guilt again. "You're still family, Ethan." I said nothing, just stared until he left. That night in the quiet of my apartment, I felt something new, peace. For the first time in years, I owed no one anything. Then came a surprise. A week later, I received a letter from a law firm addressed to me personally, not the house. It was from Mom's old attorney. She'd set up a private trust, to be revealed 9 years after her death. Now, at the attorney's office, my hands trembled as he handed me a key and a letter in Mom's handwriting. "Ethan, if you're reading this, I'm gone and the house has likely changed. I know your father, I know Jake. And I know you. You're not weak. You're not unseen. You're the strength that held this family together even as they overlooked you. I saw it every day. This fund is yours alone. I wanted you to have freedom. One more thing, you're the sole heir to the house. Check the attached papers. My will ensures it, no matter what your father said. Love, Mom." The documents confirmed it. My name was the only one listed. Dad had hidden the will, buried the truth, likely hoping I'd never find out. I sat in that office for hours, processing. When I left, I had a plan. Over the next few days, I felt a shift. The inheritance wasn't just money, it was substantial, but it was more than that. It was about the house I'd fought to protect, the one Dad and Jake had slowly ruined. Now I held the power. First, I changed my phone number. I didn't want their calls, but I knew they wouldn't let go easily. They never did. They never grasped the burden I'd carried. The day after I filed to claim the inheritance, Dad appeared at my office again, looking broken. His once commanding presence seemed frail. "Ethan," he said softly, almost pleading, "I came to talk." I studied him, wondering if he could ever comprehend what he'd done. He'd treated me like a shadow for years, and now he needed me. I felt for him, but I couldn't let it slide. "I don't know what you want, Dad. You threw me out. You made it clear I didn't belong." He sat across from me, hands fidgeting. "I know I was wrong. I was angry, didn't know how to handle Jake's mess, and I took it out on you. And now you need me to clean it up again," I said, my voice sharp. "I've never asked for help like this," he replied. "I'm not proud. I was scared to admit I was weak." "Scared to admit weakness," I echoed, anger rising. "You were never scared to take from me, Dad. You and Jake leaned on me while I carried everything." He looked down. "Please, Ethan, I don't want to lose the house, the family." His voice broke. I stood abruptly. "Then figure it out yourself. I'm not your solution anymore. I'm rebuilding my life." I grabbed my things and left, heart racing but calm in my resolve. For the first time, I wasn't saving anyone else. I was choosing myself. Later, I met with a lawyer Mom had trusted. He arranged a meeting with a property management company because returning to that house felt suffocating. I decided to sell it, to shed its weight entirely. If Dad and Jake thought they could keep using me, they'd learn about consequences. But then Jake texted, a long message filled with apologies and admissions of failure. Part of me wanted to ignore it. He was manipulating me again, wasn't he? But there was no bravado, no false charm. It felt real, born of desperation. "Ethan, I know I messed up. I always do. But the house, Dad's falling apart, and I don't know what to do. Please help us one last time." I stared at the text for ages. I could have walked away, started fresh, and never looked back. But something lingered, maybe Mom's words or the memory of the boy who wanted to fix his family. So I called Jake. He answered instantly, voice unsteady. "Ethan, yeah, it's me," I said, unsure where this was going. "I got your message." "I know I don't deserve it," he said, "but please just listen. I'm not asking you to fix everything. I need help getting back on track. Dad's ruined it all and now I cut him off. "You're asking for help now after everything?" Jake sighed, heavy with guilt. "I get it, I was awful, but this isn't just about me. It's about Dad. He's scared of losing the house. If we don't act soon..." "You and Dad used me for years and you're still asking," I said, my voice firm. There was a long pause, then Jake said something unexpected. "I don't want to be like Dad. I know I messed up, but you're the only one who can fix this. Not because you have to, but because you care about this family." For the first time, something shifted in me. A spark of the person I used to be, who believed family mattered, no matter how fractured. I didn't answer Jake immediately. I let the call linger in my mind for days, torn between the part of me that wanted to help and the part that had been trampled for years. Mom once said, "Ethan, forgiveness isn't weakness, but ignoring who hurt you is." Her words guided my next steps. I didn't return to the house. Instead, I arranged a meeting at a local cafe and told Jake and Dad to come. They hesitated but showed up. Dad looked gaunt, the stress visibly wearing him down. Jake looked weary, like he was finally bearing his own burdens. I got to the point. "You want my help, fine, but it's on my terms, no manipulation. No guilt, I'm not saving you, I'm setting things right." Dad started to speak, but I raised a hand. "No, you don't talk until I'm done." I slid a document across the table. Jake glanced at it, confused, then his eyes widened. "What's this?" "A formal transfer of ownership," I said evenly. "The house is Mom's, she left it to me. I'll let you stay for 1 year rent-free. After that, you buy it or leave. If I sense any disrespect, I'll sell it faster than you can blink." Dad stared at the paper like it was toxic. "You're throwing us out." "No," I said, voice steady. "You threw me out. I'm giving you a chance you never gave me." Jake looked ashamed. "I didn't think you'd even talk to us again." "I'm not here for reconciliation," I replied. "I'm here to protect Mom's legacy. You're lucky I haven't pursued fraud charges because any lawyer would love to know how you faked her signature to refinance a paid-off mortgage." Dad's face paled. I continued, "Sign the papers, fix the house, and act like adults, or I'll treat you the way you treated me." The silence was heavy. Jake reached for the pen first, signing. Dad followed reluctantly. I left without handshakes or fake pleasantries. I didn't need their thanks, I didn't want it. The next year was calm. For the first time in a decade, I controlled my own narrative. Jake got a real job, warehouse work, steady, honest. I noticed but said nothing. Dad tried contacting me, but I kept my distance. He was built on pride and fear, and I wouldn't be his crutch again. Still, I let them stay, not out of obligation, but because it felt right to see them face consequences. Then came an unexpected turn. One evening, I received a letter from Mom's old friend, Miss Sarah, who used to watch me as a kid. She'd found Mom's old journal in a box of donated books and thought I should have it. I didn't expect much until I read it. Mom had documented everything: her final years, Dad's growing coldness as her illness worsened, Jake taking her money with empty promises. One passage hit me hard. If Ethan's reading this, know this: I stayed silent to protect you. Your father wasn't just harsh, he was dangerous. He threatened to disown you if I revealed the inheritance. He thought you'd squander it. But I knew you'd use it to build something better than this family ever offered. Forgive me. I left it all for you because you loved me for me, not for what I could give. I read those words repeatedly, tears blurring the ink. I'd thought Mom forgot me in her final days, but she'd fought for me in secret. When the one-year mark arrived, I visited the house for the first time. It looked better, cleaner, repaired. Jake met me at the door, his arrogance gone, replaced by quiet regret. "I'm ready to move out," he said before I spoke. I blinked. "You are," he nodded. "I saved up. I'm getting a small place downtown next week. It's modest, but it's mine." I studied him, unsure how to feel. "And Dad, he's trying," Jake said, "but he won't leave. He thinks you'll cave." I shook my head. "He's wrong." And he was. The next day, I sent Dad a formal 30-day eviction notice. He tried to beg, guilt trip, even shout, but I stood firm. Mom's journal had shown me everything. 30 days later, he was gone. The house was truly mine. I renovated it fully, not just for value, but to cleanse the toxicity that once filled it. The kitchen where they gave me that cake now felt warm. The living room where Dad berated me was now serene. I left Mom's room untouched, filling it with her favorite books, plants, and photos. Not a shrine, but a tribute. A reminder that true love doesn't demand everything while giving nothing. A year later, I stood outside the house, deed in one hand, a letter to Mom in the other. "You gave me more than money," I wrote. "You gave me truth I didn't know I needed. I'm no longer the boy who stayed quiet for peace. I'm a man who rebuilt your legacy. Thank you for believing in me when no one else did." That's how it ends. I came home for my 32nd birthday to find betrayal in the form of a cake. But they didn't know the boy they dismissed had become a man they couldn't control. When the truth emerged, so did the consequences.